everyone. Today I wanted to do a fairly quick tutorial on something I think is super exciting, which is the ability to use custom palettes. So this is something that we're now able to do thanks to Prism, who created a version of PetzA that lets us swap the default palette for a custom palette on a per pet basis. That's quite different to before. It was always possible to change the game palette, the 256 colors that the game uses, to a custom one, but that would impact your entire game. So your whole game would look different, not just the individual pets. So now we can swap the palette for a specific pet, which means you can have multiple pets using different palettes all at the same time and in the environment that looks the same as the default game. I wanted to start off on Queenie's palette master list because I think this is an incredibly helpful page and resource for everybody. I'm going to link it in the description. It's pretty much a list of all the publicly available palettes that we have at this point in the community. Making a palette is actually pretty simple, but I'm not going to be going into that today. As you can see, Queenie also has a few useful links and a little bit of information here I would suggest going and having a look through. I also wanted to say that I know that the idea of swapping palettes can be a little bit intimidating, particularly if you're more familiar or aware of the old way that it was done. But I promise you, this is super simple. And you don't even have to make your own. You can just download one of the 198 palettes that somebody else has made and use them on your own pets. Okay, say that watching this video convinces you to have a go at using custom palettes. The first thing you're going to need is the PETZ version that enables you to do this. You can get that by going to Prism's website. There is a link here from Queenie's page. I will also provide a link to it in the description. And then scroll down until you find the PETZ toy. The PETZ toy is available only for pets 3 and 4, but just remember, if you're a Pets 5 player, you can actually have both games installed at the same time. You can have all the versions of the game installed at the same time. So there's no reason you can't have fun with this anyway. It just means you can't put those pets in Pets 5, that's all. Okay, so you're going to download the PETZ toy, and then just like any other toy, you're going to put it in your resource toys folder. And it's really that simple. That's it. You've got PETZ installed and you have the ability to use custom palettes. There is also a palette swap guide here that you can go and look at, but it's really not complicated. You just load your game up, go to PETza, look at the settings, and just make sure that you have enable palette swaps ticked. Okay, ignore the random pet that's appeared in the background. I have the newest PETZ version, which is in beta test mode, so yours probably won't look exactly like this, but it doesn't really matter. Just make sure that palette swaps are enabled. And I would also suggest that you click on unlock palette because that changes some of the colors and makes them more consistent. So just my suggestion, you don't have to do that. But if you think that your pet isn't displaying properly, try ticking that and it might help solve the problem. All right, bye Moss Heart. Okay, so we've done that. We've got PETZ installed and we've ticked enable palette swaps. What we need next is somewhere to put palettes and a bunch of palettes. So you can go ahead and download whatever palettes you want, either from Queenie's page or from the individual creators, or make your own, of course. And then what you need to do is in your resource folder, so in Pets 4 resource folder, you need to create a palettes folder. The palettes folder is where you're going to put all your palettes. Any palettes you download, you're going to put in here. And you can also have subfolders. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever to how they're read. I have a subfolder for the palettes I've created specifically, so as you can see, but it doesn't really matter where they are. Once you have palettes in your subfolder and it's all set up and ready to go, you need to know how to use a palette in a Breedfile or in a pet file. And it's exactly the same with both. So I'm just going to show you with my orange short hair Breedfile here. You can go anywhere in the lines and you want to do the same in the adult or the kitten. Doesn't matter where you go. I'm just going to randomly go here and type in palette like this in square brackets. So you create a new heading and then just type in the name of the palette. Again, it doesn't matter if it's in a subfolder, just type the name of the palette like that. So I'm going to use my time palette. This is in fact in my subfolder. I'm just going to copy it from here. You save this, switch to the kitten. And again, it can go anywhere, does not matter where. I can put it at the end, I can put it at the beginning, doesn't matter, and save that. So once you've done that, your breed file will come out using the custom palette. And you see that nothing in the environment changes. It's exactly the same using the original palette, and your pet is the one with the custom palette. And just to show you, if I bring out a different pet, it's still using the original palette. A little extra thing that can help is if you are editing a breed file, such as the breed file that you just saw in my game, it's nice to be able to see it with the custom palette on it. So here it's just the default palette. There is a little utility that enables you to do this. It's here, it's the Pet Workshop palette swapper. You can download it, and when you've downloaded it, you just place it in the same folder as your palettes. So this is it here. And then to use it, you double click, and then if you want to use a palette that's in the same folder as the palette swapper, you just type the name in here. If it's in a subfolder, as is the case here, you type the name of the subfolder first, and then the name of the palette. Press enter, and it tells you to reload Pet Workshop. So I'm going to do that. Just reloading the file, and there you go. Now it appears as it does in the game. And I have my full palette here, so I can play around and change the colors if I want to. Now, just one thing to bear in mind is that sadly, this does not work for textures. So if you put a texture, if you apply a texture to the file, it's going to look like it's still in the original palette. And the other thing to bear in mind is just because you've done the palette swap here, it doesn't mean you've changed the palette on the breed file. So this is just purely to help you visualize what you're doing. You have to do the palette swap in Lines Pro, like I showed you earlier, by typing in the name of the palette under the palette heading. The last thing I would like to show everybody before I finish off this tutorial is how easy it is to edit an individual pet using a custom palette so that you can create unique appearances without doing very much hexing at all. So this is a dog I adopted from Sungrays. If you know, you know. And I'm going to apply a palette to this dog. And again, you can go anywhere in the file, it doesn't really matter. I tend to go right at the top so I can find it easily. And type in the name of a palette that you want to use. Let's have a look at my palettes and decide. Oh, I think I'll use Coterie. Do the same in the child. Now, just to remind you, that's what the original dog looked like. And that's what they look like now. So the difference with this particular palette is quite subtle, which sometimes is nice, and sometimes you might want something a bit more extreme. So let's try something a bit different just to show you. You do have to exit, by the way, when you're saving a pet with Lines Pro, so just remember that. Let's do Underwater, which is one of my palettes. So remember, it doesn't matter that it's in a subfolder. This one is in a subfolder. You just type in the name. You see what it looked like before? And now it looks like that. The other fun thing is that the palette that you're pet is currently using will influence what the clothes it wears look like too. And that's because clothes always take on the qualities of the pet. I hope that you've all seen how easy palettes are to work with and you've been convinced to try. They are genuinely one of the most fun things that the PETZ community has available to play with, I think, right now in terms of hexing. It's such an incredible innovation, and yeah, just really opens up the possibilities so much. There is another thing coming up soon that Prism has in beta testing, which is transparency, and that is also incredible. The other pet you see, the sort of weird mossy creature, uses both a custom palette and that transparency. So maybe that's something I'll do a tutorial on in the future once that has been released. Thank you for watching. As always, do like and share if you want to, and I will see you in the next one.